Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. We are live here on this Thursday morning. We appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind on YouTube. If you have not subscribed, please hit that subscription and the notification for all of the content that'll be coming your way. Metropolitan Health Group brings you our phone line. We're scheduled to talk to New Orleans Pelicans small forward and Baton Rouge's own Garrett Temple at 8:30 this morning. We will talk to Garrett about the playoff run that the Pelicans went on this last season in New Orleans, his thoughts on Willie Green. C.J. McCollum making the jump over to the media. I think McCollum's beating the rest of the punch, beating everybody to the punch here, man. This is
he's reading the room the right way.
He's going to be great.
He is. This is you're starting to see a wave of players, obviously with the money, with what Tom Brady has agreed to over at Fox and some of the money that's being thrown around with like the Pat McAfee podcast, Dan Le Batard and his group down in South Beach. I mean, you're seeing a lot of money being thrown at this media model. So people like Draymond Green, people like C.J. McCollum really taking advantage of the player movement into media. J.J. Redick has capitalized tremendously off of ESPN's platform, able to kind of boost his brand. So we'll talk a little bit about that coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. The match. Last
you talk
night,
about taking advantage of a platform. That's what Tom was on there again.
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers cucked him.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He made the putt on 18 to win it after Brady missed it.
What about Mahomes and Allen? Yeah? Yeah. So
More Allen.
Brady,
Mahomes is in a tough spot. I feel like he just can't win.
Yeah.
Because of his family situation.
Brittany.
Brittany is too much into space.
Was she
is
at the match?
Oh, I didn't see that much of it. I played myself. I just played golf.
Okay.
But I caught the last two holes. But I just know what Brittany's all about. It feels like Patrick can't get away
Brittany's
from
all about having
it.
no
He's in
weight.
too deep.
Well, I mean, the claws have sunk.
He's in the
Well,
upside
yeah,
down.
he's in too deep. She's pregnant, and they already
Again.
have a child. Yeah. So yeah, it's on.
Did you see the somebody edited the picture? It was supposed to be like something about like our second daughter. It said Joe Burrow's my daddy.
I didn't see that.
That's great. SEC meetings yesterday over in Destin. There was media availability. All the coaches and ADs talking yesterday. More on the Feinbaum show. If you saw all of the media coming out of there, Greg Sankey was speaking. Brian Kelly was speaking. We also heard from Scott Woodward down in Destin. Woodward had a great line talking about Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban, where he said, "I'm not getting in between two hillbillies."
That's amazing.
From West Virginia. I mean, it shows you how close he is.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
really.
awesome.
I think we've talked about, I mean, Woodward and Saban vacation together. Woodward hired Jimbo Fisher and changed Fisher's life by the contract that he gave him over at Texas A&M. So these two guys very much know Scott Woodward very well, and vice versa. And I think Woodward was kind of showing you that in his comments yesterday that he made on a public platform. But look, a lot of people talking about 8-9 game schedule down in Sandestin. I think this is something that Greg Sankey and the executive committee were all looking towards Destin in the coaches meetings of trying to figure this stuff out and hopefully get some answers down in Destin this week on whether or not football was going to operate under an 8 or 9 game schedule. I think that there's still some information that they're going to have to find as far as like kind of an information gathering process. That some questions were brought up this week, so maybe some more discovery has to be made for a decision to be made. But this is obviously something that we're going to find out pretty quick. I've always thought that the 9 game schedule in the SEC made a lot of sense, and it really started because of LSU's permanent opponent in Florida, right? For the longest time, this LSU-Florida series that has butted into one of the great rivalries in college football, and especially in the conference. I mean, it's one of the weekends that I think you circle on watching both of those teams play when they play one another because of kind of the inward hate that they now they have for each other. And it's, it's really kind of turned into a good series on the field. For a while there in the 90s, especially with Spurrier, I mean, LSU was just getting their teeth kicked in every year from Florida. And, that was kind of really where it started, of LSU trying to kind of wiggle out of the permanent opponent schedule base that the SEC was operating on, kind of that 7-1, format. For me, the 9-game format always made the most sense because when you would talk to some of these guys that went through their 4 or 5 years at LSU, I mean, the majority of them didn't get the opportunity to play on every campus. And I believe that, look, I know that now NIL has brought a lot more discussion to college athletics on how much are they still amateurs, and with, transaction and payments being made and, business transactions going hand to hand when you're giving somebody money for a service, then does that kill the amateurism? I mean, by definition, it seems like it does. But, I mean, from the student-athlete experience, I always thought that college players should travel to every college city in the SEC.
So that's why 9 is better?
That's kind of like the top line on why 9 is better.
Why do some people want 8? Why are some people against 9?
Well, I think that when like I saw like Kentucky is in favor of 8. When you're in this format, it gives you the best opportunity to bring in a non-conference like Eastern Kentucky. You know what I mean? Where you can get that win. It's another win where
cupcake.
Mark Stoops' contract has qualifications of you win 8 games or 9 games. That's about $150,000 difference. You make a bowl game.
Yeah,
we'll make a bowl game. That's about $100,000 difference.
Yeah, we'll pay him $100,000 to come in, and I'll make $50,000.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of money tied to this. Obviously, like Alabama's like, we want a 9-game schedule, right? I mean, I even think that a lot of the heavyweights would want the 9-game schedule because, from a competitive standpoint, it gives more credibility to the conference.
So LSU wants 9.
I believe so. Yeah. I think that for the longest time, LSU wanted to kick Florida. You know what I mean? They wanted to get behind the permanent opponent. So I think that they would rather play where you have 6 games every season that are going to be hardwired into your schedule. For LSU, it's probably going to be like Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi State would probably be your 6, right? And then you would have 3 rotating games every single year, right? I believe the last time LSU went to Kentucky before last season was 2007 when they won the national championship.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Jacob Hester was playing for LSU.
The Charles Scott game.
Yeah. I mean, it was the double overtime game that they got beat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Triple overtime, double overtime.
Triple overtime.
Yeah. Got stopped on 4th and 1.
Yeah. And this past season was the first time that LSU had been back to Lexington since that game. That to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I think that like one team has not. I don't think Georgia's been to Texas A&M. Like they have not. Since Texas A&M has been in the league. I mean, it's.
Would you say that LSU stands to benefit the most from this? Like if you can get Florida off as your permanent kind of East opponent, because they have the toughest draw. It feels like. I don't know if that's me being biased, but that's a tough look every year to be your cross SEC East player.
I think that it's a sticky situation because like Auburn and Georgia is one of the oldest rivalries in college football. If you were to kill that series, and that's a series that's kind of been back and forth, right? Now Georgia kind of feels like they've got the dominance, but for a while there, Auburn was really they were kind of
owning
handling
that
series. Even Alabama Tennessee for a while was always a really big rivalry game that everybody would circle. Now, since Saban's been in Tuscaloosa, it's almost as if you can name the score in that game. But as far as the history of the permanent opponent, I think LSU probably
has the toughest
serves
draw
to benefit the most just because of LSU. It took LSU a while to close the gap on Florida. And Florida always really stayed kind of even with LSU. So it's kind of turned into a really intense rivalry game where it's got hate now.
And now you
the stuff back and forth with like Oliva a couple of years ago when he screwed that negotiation up on the hurricane stuff, and I mean it was
the Tom Petty situation,
the Tom Petty stuff. I mean all of that.
Add in Billy Napier into the mix with the Lafayette contingency. Like it's a real, if the SEC wants to like kind of schedule and put in like a built-in, I guess, rivalry, then they wouldn't get rid of it. But if they wanted to, I think there's some merit to the SEC doesn't want to eat itself alive. Like, you know, if until they expand the playoff, the SEC with these cross, like especially for LSU with the cross matchups the way that they are, you're kind of killing your own product a little bit. Like you're taking yourself out of the playoff mix.
Well,
a little
and
bit.
also in an 8-game schedule, it gives the SEC the best opportunity to get multiple teams in the playoff. Right, and that's where you make the real money. Right. I mean, from a conference standpoint, that's when you're able to kind of create a windfall for yourself when you get, when you can guarantee yourself multiple teams in that format. You pretty much guarantee the league's going to win another national championship or at least play for one.
Yeah.
I mean, all that stuff. Like Sankey said a couple of weeks back, they're fine with the 4-team model. I guess you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We'll
You got the
get
majority.
four in.
I mean, you just had Florida versus Alabama. I mean, you just had Alabama versus Georgia. You know what I mean? Like it's the SEC Invitational. Really, I mean, every single year. So
why is everybody shifting? I mean, I was reading this. Scott Strickland said one day you talk to somebody, they're on one side. The next time you talk to them, they're on the other side.
Yeah. Money and politics. You know, I mean, I think that, you know, from LSU and Florida standpoint, Scott Strickland and Scott Woodward probably to each other's face said, "No, we love the permanent opponent. We love playing each other." And then they turn around and talk to the other ADs and like, "We got to lose this. Got to lose this Florida series." You know, I mean, I just think that there a lot of business is getting done down in Destin this week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of the business around the Southeastern Conference. This is kind of the week where the conversations either end or they begin, right, in Destin this week on things that they're trying to wrap up or new ideas on the horizon. Stuff like NIL and transfer portal, I'd imagine, dominated a lot of the conversations. But hearing from the majority of the coaches and the ADs yesterday, you know, this is a big business week for the Southeastern Conference. They kick around a lot of stuff at these tables that are talking, you know, just on the business of the SEC. And I think this 8-9 game schedule, which is being debated, talked about, it sounded like Sankey and his group were prepared to make a decision on it this week. Like all of the lead up to the SEC spring meetings was that there was going to be some type of finality that came out of whatever decision was going to be made on the scheduling format. But as Sankey kind of alluded to yesterday, they need a little bit more information and a little bit more time, you know, before they make a decision. But I wouldn't see this going longer than, you know, a couple of more weeks. I mean, we'll know pretty soon on what they're going to do. And you know, I kind of side with the strongest voices. I kind of feel like if Saban is back there saying that he wants 9 games, and this is not anything new for Saban has been talking and barking about 9 games for a long time.
Why would he want that?
He talks about competitive balance, and I think the same things of, you know, like the experience of being able to travel around. I don't know specifically why.
Because they got an easy. They would be the last one I would think that would want to change anything, because, like you said, they get probably one of the easier teams in the East. But maybe he's seeing the writing on the wall a little bit that Tennessee's kind of becoming a player, and he wants to be able to move around a little bit. But if I was, like I said, if there was anybody that should be pounding the table, it would be LSU, because that's always been like. When you look at their schedule every year and you see Florida on there and you're just like, this is murderer's row, it would be more beneficial for LSU to be able to have a, you know, rotating cast of characters to come in as opposed to Alabama.
Yeah.
But Nick Saban's the one that gets to move the needle the most. Whenever he talks, they listen.
He does. He said you could have a great team and lose 2 games in our conference, and somebody in another conference went undefeated but didn't have the same opportunity to play as many good teams.
He can also always manipulate the schedule.
Spin.
He can manipulate the schedule and how.
He can just manipulate the sport.
Right.
Yes. Exactly. He's the god of football.
He is.
Jimbo said it.
He's going to he's gonna put the rules in his favor. And if he's barking this loud and this adamant about something, he sees
something.
He sees some type of advantage
right.
of getting and being able to create wins for his program.
Don't you think that's going to make other coaches though be like,
probably
we don't want that though?
Probably so.
Yeah, it's almost like if you look like the New England Patriots. If they ever offer you a trade, you're just like, I'm not taking it. I don't know why. I don't know what they want,
right.
but I'm just not doing it.
No doubt.
Do you think that this would affect the rest of college football if the SEC makes a move like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think anytime the SEC moves an inch in college football, it affects the game with groundswells. I mean, like it's too powerful of a conference. And you talk about, we haven't even talked about Oklahoma and Texas. And while Sankey said that they don't have direct representation at the meetings over in Destin, they are very much kept up to speed on what's being discussed and being talked about. And I'd imagine behind closed doors, they've probably got a voice. They've probably got a vote on whatever is happening there. So,
poor Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Lose their head coach coming into the SEC just with their stepdad. It's gonna just be brutal. They're not gonna be the team that they thought they were when they had Lincoln Riley.
Brent Venables. Should have stayed at Clemson.
Yeah,
buddy.
tape your fingers up, coach.
Remember City Cafe, daily specials for City Cafe, daily lunch specials that you can find about online at citycafebr.net. Citycafebr.net is where you can find them and learn about everyday lunch specials and brunch that cranks up at 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings. City Cafe, where good friends go to meet and where good friends go to eat. 100 years in business. You can find them on O'Neill and George O'Neill. Stop in and see them. They got fresh, shucked, raw oysters daily. They've also got char-grilled oysters that you can go in and eat on the regular. But check out the brunch on Sundays. Their brunch menu cranks up at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Remember that as City Cafe. 100 years in business. Tell Squeaky, Cody, Dirk, and the crew that you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Online, if you want to check out the menu, citycafebr.net. Citycafebr.net is where you can find them online. Wraps up today over in Destin, so I think we'll learn a lot about kind of what was accomplished this week down in Destin, down at the spring meetings. It's not just about football, man. I mean, remember Matt McMahon is down there for the first time representing LSU as a head basketball coach. Kim Mulkey, obviously down there. She was hired after this event last season, so she was a part of this year's coaches meetings down there in Destin. So a lot of new faces for LSU showing up at these coaches meeting representing Baton Rouge in what was a pretty big week for the business. We'll track down. I talked to Dellinger a little bit last night. He's kind of all over the place down there figuring out and chasing stories. So we'll kind of get a recap. Yeah, I'm sure. We'll get a recap from him.
It's got to be refreshing for him to not have to talk about NIL again or whatever business he was having to do. He got real serious with his report. So it's probably fun to get back in the actual minutia of sports.
I mean, you could hear that in his voice.
He was back. It sounded like CNBC.
Yeah.
One thing
he was reading a eulogy.
Yeah. I hate my job.
One thing that we did hear from yesterday was Brian Kelly, and Kelly was talking a little bit about NIL. He sat down with Paul Feinbaum, and he was all over the place as far as the media was concerned. And he said this has turned into a runaway train that has moved well past the student athlete and is moving fast toward a professional contract. I don't think that was the intention. So we're going to need some guidelines here before it gets thrown into Congress, is what Kelly said yesterday. He said, I don't think they want contracts. I don't think they want to be traded. I'm sure they don't want to be cut. I'm sure that they're going to like getting a call at 3 o'clock in the afternoon saying, hey, I don't know, but we just traded you today to St. Bonaventures, and they don't have a football team. But Kelly was making a little light of just how crazy this is. And I know that we've had this discussion countless times on this platform, so we're not going to dive back into it wholeheartedly of what NIL is. But, I mean, it just kind of from a lot of the talking heads and a lot of the coaches over there in Sandestin, and even Greg Sankey yesterday on Paul Feinbaum's set gave you a little bit of, look, this is kind of the uncomfortable unknown right now for college sports, where, they're even kind of going up to Washington, D.C. Sankey was up there with the Pac-12 commissioner 2 weeks ago. In fact, he was up there when the Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban stuff kind of hit the fan, but he was up there talking, legislation with, with senators and House members on, in Congress on trying to find out rules and stipulations and guidelines on how to regulate NIL around intercollegiate athletics. And, when you hear Brian Kelly speak of it, it's dire. It's in dire times. And, I've heard people, the poor millionaire coaches whining that they got to go. You're missing the point. They're not complaining because they have to work more, right? One thing that Lane Kiffin had a great line yesterday in talking to Feinbaum. He was talking about just the commitment that it takes to be there, and they were referencing, some of the things that were going on around college football, and he said, "Look, man, if you're not willing to adjust and you're not willing to put the time in, then you're probably out on the beach right now, not coaching football, with the waves crashing and Sandestin right behind." Right behind the set.
I know a guy.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
He's probably the happiest out of all of them.
Absolutely.
Get me out of here.
Yeah, right. He's probably got a sign behind him.
I was about to say, he's probably in Destin.
Oh, what's up, boys? Not for hire.
What's up, J-boy?
J-boy.
But, it gives you an idea of the
fishing hole,
the change that is here in college football. Just how demanding of changes it is. That was one thing that I thought was refreshing, and I'm not trying to dump on O, and I'm really not trying to dump on Les Miles, more in the fact of Brian Kelly just being it is very refreshing to see that is the face of LSU football. That is the voice of LSU football, and that he can, even when you were watching Les Miles, you were just kind of hoping and praying that the guy could complete a sentence. It was easy to crack on O about his accent, his voice, and his gravelly tone and all that stuff. But even dating back to Les, he would go and turn this into a spectacle. Where he would say something so stupid and dumb and off the wall and couldn't complete a sentence, and just a terrible representation for our state. You know what I mean?
He somehow spun it into being a victory, though. Every time everybody's like, "Oh, he's an affable goof."
Like, that was to me
like
that
Mike
was
Tyson
that was
post-fight.
We've always felt sorry for the kid in your group. You've always felt sorry for a friend. You've always felt sorry for somebody in your class.
When you're
right?
counting down the
Where
reading list, you're like, "Oh
God!" You can give them a compliment, but you're really just kind of backhanding them back, on the head of. How
many fingers can he fit in his nose?
Isn't he funny?
Yeah. He's our goof.
Isn't he a goof? Right.
Yeah.
Where people try to embrace him as, he's our dumbass. You
right.
know what I mean? Where it was like, well,
you can't make fun of him, but we can.
He's still a belligerent idiot. You know what I mean? Where he can't complete a sentence. But that was, dating back now, well past a decade, that has been what LSU has been represented by at spring meetings, SEC media days, all of these events where publicly somebody's got to speak for LSU, somebody's got to speak for the state. Somebody's got to represent the colors. And to have Brian Kelly sitting up there yesterday, even Scott Woodward, and I know Woodward's been on the job, but just, his respect that he has from his peers, from people around him. It was as if always, you were watching Joe Oliva kind of out of the side of your eye, waiting on him to say something that was going to be embarrassing for the university or not know what he's talking about. Right? Ogeron would walk into trap after trap after trap on a
that he would make he would make his own traps. Like you made this bed. Why are you doing this to yourself?
Even Will Wade, would show up to these events, and he was kind of a marked man, right? Where people were almost looking for, they were looking to get more drama, more story out of him than they were really looking to dive deep and learn about his program. Now you've got guys and people representing the university that, look, it's all business. It's all business. And I think Kelly was sold on that when he was hired. And that's what, the LSU administration, I think, was looking for when they were looking to fill the position.
It has to be relieving at some point.
I would assume so, especially for people that have been there for a while, that have been doing this stuff for a while. Think of Michael Bonnett's job, how much easier it got.
Oh my God!
With Brian Kelly and
can't
Woke up in a
imagine.
cold sweat. The coaching show is supposed to be a nothing burger, and it was primetime television last year because you didn't know what I was going to say
Every week.
Every week, they're to kill somebody.
Exactly. I mean, like, that's the stuff that you had to be concerned about.
Let's get back to football.
Yes. I mean, like, fellas.
What's
You know what I
happening?
mean? Like, we're all, like, well paid for this. Like, let's take it. This is not the Jerry Springer show.
You can't even go to TJ
You
Ribs.
know what I mean? Like, for God's sakes, can you just tell us about the offensive game plan this week?
Well, he didn't know.
I mean, it's just, and now, Bonnet is showing up on a level playing ground with the rest of,
Could finally
of the
have a
conference.
drink.
Yeah, right. Where you can talk about, like, what's the major concerns of, what's going on in different campuses, rather than LSU always being the center of the conversation of, Jesus, man, what are y'all doing down there? Like, good God.
A lot of drinking.
Every time I look up, I can't swipe through I can't refresh my social media feed without seeing a shirtless coach or an idiot speaking into a microphone, man. I mean, what are y'all doing down there? But now it feels like, with Kelly and Woodward and Mulkey and McMahon and all these people that are representing LSU, there's just, the story is different now around this athletic department.
It's kind of a testament to LSU that they succeeded in spite of themselves in some cases.
Yeah.
Like, this shouldn't be a program like that's on the tier that it's on when you look at the history of the coaches and the hirings, and it's just, there's so much talent here that you can win in spite of yourself, and now it feels like, oh, this could be much easier than we made it out to be. And now you finally have a guy that you don't have to hold your breath whenever you go to SEC Media Day, whenever you have meetings in Destin. You're like, oh, all of these answers are normal. These are stock answers. Instead of Call Panamsky. Like, well, I don't even know what that means.
I don't even know who that is.
You're right.
So
it's just refreshing.
It is.
It
It's
is.
very
It's
refreshing, and I think that was a lot of the purpose of bringing in a personality like Brian Kelly, was to take this concern that LSU administrators had, and whenever you walk any of these people out into the public, we shouldn't have to be so concerned and tight on what they're going to say. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like you're playing craps every time you put these people in front of a microphone, and that shouldn't be part of the job. You know what I mean? Like, whoever we're going to pay the millions upon millions to represent the programs in the university, they should be able to complete a sentence or at least say something that we don't have to be concerned about and go back behind and have to clean up. And, with Brian, that's not even
On the table.
It's not even, it's not even a concern. You don't even have to, because it's so business oriented, organized, structured, and competent, really. You know what I mean? And again, I don't mean to, I'm not gonna, every time I turn it on, Culotta's shitting on Ogeron. I'm not.
Les can get it too.
Yeah, right. Believe me, I'd much rather sit up here and do 2 hours of just dumping on Les Miles than anything else. I mean, I'm just
He's
saying
back
that
on Twitter.
The last
Is
decade
he really?
has been, but he's ducked off again, right? I mean, it was
Just one. He just popped up. He's
Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, that was it.
What did he say? What did he pop up to say?
Tyrann Mathieu tweeted out, "This is where I'm supposed to be," like with the great picture of him on in the Saints
OTAs.
facility,
Uh-huh.
and you know what I mean. He kind of looked like that.
Yeah.
And Les quote tweeted, it was like, "You sure are, buddy. I'm
Really?
proud of you."
From the top ropes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Les, you're the one that kicked me out of here.
I know. And then he got off again? Got off Twitter?
I'm sure he got
I
off.
nobody's seen him since. Yeah, right.
Lloyd was like, "Where does Les live?
Where is he?
Where do y'all think he lives?" Because I mean, he was in Kansas, got fired in Kansas. I thought he was in Louisiana. I would think he's still in Louisiana.
No
I don't know.
way.
No.
You don't think
No
so?
way.
I thought he just stayed in Kansas.
No way.
Kansas?
Yeah.
He would.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Where's
I'm following
he
him.
from?
He would.
Is he from there? Where's he from?
He's from Michigan.
Is
right?
it Michigan?
Or I think
Yeah.
he's actually from. I think
is
he's
it-
from Ohio.
Okay.
But he went to Michigan.
Of course, you
So I
got
figured he
confused.
stayed there, like in the Midwest area, right? Surely someone knows
I
this.
think he's probably living on a beach somewhere. I mean, you got all that money.
Uh,
Where?
Ohio.
He lives in Ohio?
No,
he's from Ohio.
He's
Right,
from
right.
Elyria, Ohio. I don't know if I
Yes.
pronounced that right.
No, he's from Ohio.
He
And
went to University of Michigan,
Went
though.
to Michigan.
turncoat.
He's coached all over the place. And
Been all over the place.
If I had to
I don't know
guess,
where
I'd
he
say a
is.
beach.
Yeah,
I mean, why not?
he and
I know.
I mean,
and
he
Ocean
robbed the state. I mean, like, walked
Highway
in
robbery.
There's
with a
actually-
ski mask and a gun,
and
and
they
said,
were like,
"Give me $50 million."
take it
And
here.
for whatever reason.
We're gonna
I
run the
mean,
ball
they
50
just cut the
times.
check to him.
God damn it!
Toss dive right.
So I mean,
This is actually Kirk Herbstreit's fault. Like
It is.
Yeah,
It
he got
absolutely
he
is.
got fooled by Les too. He had
you know what? I think that Herbstreit was kind of working as
Ski mask.
As
Ski
a-
mask less.
like kind of an Ohio State guy.
He
And for
robbed
whatever
them.
reason, that was like back in the day when Les was like still respected, like he was a good coach.
he was considered like a top 3 coach in the country.
I was about to say,
Unreal.
he was.
ESPN used to like ride him. Like
Oh,
they
they
were like
loved him.
they loved
They
Les. They
loved
did not
him.
want him to go
And if
anywhere from
Herbstreit
LSU.
doesn't pop off on that 2007 SEC
I remember
championship
where I
Saturday, me
was.
too. I was in an Atlanta hotel going to the game, and I was thinking to myself, "We are about to get out from under this moron."
Yeah,
like still with Nick Saban talent. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you still had Saban guys on the roster on that 2008 team. You know what I mean? Like Tyson Jackson, Derry Beckwith. I mean, like those cats were still around,
Could
so
play.
you could still bring somebody in and salvage it. You know what I mean? And he got up there and did that stupid, goofy, have a nice day press conference.
Great day.
Oh. And the LSU baseball crowd fell in love with him.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
Tiger
Like,
dropping
people were
his kid
people
was
were like,
porn.
That's our guy. Like, oh my god.
Why the baseball crowd?
Because it's just a
That's the
different-
old
Yeah,
guard.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
the
a different.
yeah.
It's a different crowd.
That's culted LSU right there.
Yeah, that is the cult of LSU fans.
If he would have left, who would have been the hire?
Probably like Rich Rodriguez at the time.
Oh,
maybe?
and God,
I don't know.
another
I mean,
pervert.
But, no, but actually, he lost that night at West Virginia, which gave LSU the opportunity to make the championship
the
game.
backyard brawl against Pitt. That's
I
what
don't- I
happened.
don't know if-
Ryan Perlew wins in the afternoon, and
Who
then
would they have hired in 2007? That's a great question. I'm trying to think.
Should we put it in the poll?
we have to have
I mean,
options.
we gotta have options.
Hey,
Was Spurrier in Washington? Was he with the Commanders, formerly the Redskins at the time? In 2007, I believe he was still in the NFL.
He went at South Carolina yet?
I don't know if he was.
That he wouldn't come. Would he have come back?
I don't know.
'Cause he
I don't
got
know-
spurned.
I don't know how you turn
Spurned.
down the LSU job if you're trying to get back into it at that time. LSU was they were on the top of the mountain. They probably had the best roster in football. That in 07, 08. If Peralew's still the quarterback, they've got a top 2, top 3 roster in the game. I don't know if you're a coach, how do you turn it down?
Right. Especially when you see
like-
Perlew, who hasn't played a snap except for against Middle Tennessee State, like hasn't been a starter yet, and he starts in the SEC championship. Like they have that guy on the team, and he doesn't even play. Like look at the embarrassment of riches that LSU has.
Bobby
and-
Petrino, maybe?
Oh, that would have been
Yeah.
another pervert. College football is awesome.
You give all these old men,
old white men money.
money in a university phone,
God.
access to
I'm gonna come.
interns.
I'm coming.
She looked at me.
Hire her.
I can't find anything about where Les is. The most recent thing was posted in February of this year that he was selling a vacant lot in Bocage, in Baton Rouge, like his vacant lot, because he already
Good
sold the
riddance.
house.
You robbed
So-
LSU with a banana.
Get the hell
With a
out of
gun.
here,
Nothing else.
bro.
Like I don't know. I think
Lloyd.
he's just still in Kansas. Surely it didn't.
No way
move
he's still in
again.
Kansas. No way he's still in Kansas.
Where's he gonna
Katie,
go?
He's an outcast. in
Well, I
Kansas.
know, but like, where's
I
he going
think
to keep moving
No,
to?
I think he's like in Destin. I think he's at the beach. I mean, like
Probably has a timeshare in like Muncie, Indiana, and he couldn't be happier. And like,
Something,
why
yeah.
would you live there?
South
Right.
Dakota.
Yeah.
Like somewhere weird.
Right.
He probably has multiple IDs. Like he just has a bunch of different names and aliases that he runs around town with.
You think he still colors his hair?
For sure.
Yeah.
Probably wears a wig.
Is he still with Kathy?
Yes.
They're still
Oh, I don't
together?
know that, but I mean, I'd imagine
Okay.
so.
I mean, yeah. And Kathy's in on it.
Before those like allegations came out, and like ultimately that was like when he got fired is whenever all those allegations from LSU, like Kansas, like as a football team, like sucked.
Yeah, but it was his best friend that was working there.
Yeah, he
See, like I
he
mean,
was a made man.
LSU, Jeff Long and Les Miles played together at Michigan. Like this thing has been. They've tried to coup. They've been trying to coup since back at LSU in 2010. The reason why LSU extended him, if you remember, is the season after he flubs the clock in Oxford when he's telling his quarterback Jordan Jefferson to spike it, that Michael Cobble catches on WBRZ cameras. He's got him behind the play, telling to spike the ball. Spike the ball. Meanwhile, the clock's running out. The clock's expiring. LSU's got a chance to win the game. The clock expires. It bounces off the ground. And I mean, it is a debacle. A debacle.
20 seconds run off
A
the clock.
debacle. They have the rest of the season goes on. LSU's manages to right the
To
ship
spite
somehow.
themselves.
Somehow. And Jeff Long, who is his best friend, Miles' best friend, is the athletic director at Arkansas during that time period. Arkansas is looking for a coach. And they say they want to talk to Miles and that they're going to give him all this money. And for whatever reason, Joe Oliva and to this day, Oliva would tell you, I don't know if he'd tell you publicly. He probably would tell you publicly. He hates Les Miles. You know what I mean? Like hated Les Miles from the. They had the small dick syndrome at each other. I mean, they couldn't even look at each other in the room. Like they like
Who's
turned their
dumber than
back.
me?
Yes,
You are. No, I am.
I mean, it was a fight to the death.
I'm worse
Of
than my
who
job.
is the dumbest moron in this room?
Smaller
Who's
dick.
dumber?
Me.
Exactly.
No, you.
Yeah, right. I'll wear my hat on top of my head. I don't wear a hat. I lay out in the sun all day. I mean, just back and forth between
Got my handicap down to
degenerates, morons, right? And Oliva, for whatever reason, bucks at Jeff Long offering this dipshit millions upon millions. I mean, at that time, you'd be like, go ahead.
Please.
Take him. Please take this bum away from us.
Toss dive.
And Oliva gives him a
All-time contract.
just maybe the worst contract in LSU sports history.
Really?
Oh.
Oh my God. I mean, he guaranteed him the buyout was just untouchable. I mean, for about a 4 or 5 year period, there was nothing you could do with him. There was not. He could have walked around, shoved his tongue down every student's mouth around the tiger cage.
If you're a girl.
And it would not. There was nothing they could do. That you had to pay him so much money just to go away that from a business standpoint, it made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, just keep him, let him win 8 or 9 games. You know, let him be a degenerate, dumbass pervert that, you know, what I mean, that he is, and just
Eat it.
eat it. I mean, we're on the hook. We're on the hook. Oliva got us in trouble, and the whole time
God damn you,
Oliva,
Herb Street.
the whole time Oliva is he's like behind closed doors is like telling everybody how much he hates him and how much he despises him and how goofy he is and how he can't trust him to go out in public and talk about anything. It's like, hey, moron, you're the one that gave him the security. Like, what? How did this happen? And it all happened because of Herb Street.
Herb Street and Nick Saban. Just because he had so much talent, it was impossible not to win.
Wait, what did Herb Street do?
So the morning of the SEC championship game, he got on and
He had 2 Mai Tais and got on TV.
behind closed doors. Like, it was pretty well known that Miles and Michigan were going to happen. Like that,
It was on the ticker.
like Michigan was going to hire Les Miles
a Michigan man.
that day, and the reason people say behind the scenes on why it was squashed is because Miles was not able to tell his team first that Kirk Herbstreit broke the news the morning of the SEC championship game, and like people were like the morning of the game, like Glenn Dorsey and Jacob Hester are like calling him like, Coach,
Yeah.
what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? Like Matt Flynn didn't make the trip. their starting quarterback was back in Baton Rouge with a banged up ankle.
That
Ryan
Pluckers.
Perilou had to play, and they're like, I mean, coach, there's a national championship on the line tonight. I mean, there's a chance that if we win tonight, we can go to the Natty. Are you our coach?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what's the deal? I mean, this is game day. And he calls an impromptu press conference from an Atlanta hotel and has no idea what he wants to say or what he's going to say, and just says the goofiest, dumbest,
I wish we could pull that up.
stupidest.
I'm
people
about
stuff.
Are you looking for
about to
it?
get deep in there.
But
And
people
he
loved
slams
it.
his hand on the desk. Have a great day, and walks off. And people are just like,
What?
I guess I've probably
you later,
seen
Les.
that before.
"What? What did he even say? What did he even?" And then, a decade later, you're still stuck with this moron shoving his finger in his ear, wearing his cap hat, on the top of his head, and
Spiking the football.
eating grass,
Calling
and
timeout.
everybody loving him for it. Remember ESPN put him on a commercial with a smoothie,
It was
grass
a great
smoothie?
commercial.
Yes, that was a good commercial, actually.
Just the production value of it was good.
It was good. It
And
was
he
funny.
looks good in
Yeah.
it. Like, it's very.
It was funny.
God damn it! That's so weird. We had to go through that, and he had the whole fan base fooled. Everybody loved him.
Yeah, everybody loved him. Everybody loved him.
Not everybody.
Not everybody.
Most people loved him. Or
There
actually,
it
they
is.
did.
Dude, look at old school ESPN.
I don't know. Oh, God. Look at this moron, bro.
See if we can get that thing out.
So y'all didn't ever love him in the beginning?
Never.
No, I had to fight
Never.
tooth and nail to tell him
Never.
that this is the worst. Like,
You
there's-
didn't love him?
Hell no.
Really?
Never.
But he did win 10 games a lot.
I mean, I can remember being at like dinner parties and cocktail parties and people being like, "This guy hates Les Miles." And I'd be like, "You're damn right, I hate that fool." And
Hate
people would be
him.
like, circled up, like, "I can't believe it. He's such a family man. He's such a nice guy. He's so funny." I'm like, "Family man? Turn your back on your wife and she's pinching her ass, bro." You know what I mean? Like, this guy ain't no family man. Everybody they run through that building, they got to say, "Hey, watch out for the old man. Watch out for the creeper." Which one? The one in the head coach's office. Don't go in there by yourself.
see, I didn't even know
Look at
that.
that
I just
guy.
thought he was incompetent.
No. And that was the thing, too, is that everybody kind of knew that behind the scenes. That
Oh,
was the part.
Can we watch it?
Can we?
Yeah.
Who do we need to give credit to? Where are you getting this from?
This is just
from ESPN?
From YouTube. Let me
Captain
get-
Ken.
Yeah, Captain Ken.
Captain Ken?
Yeah, Captain Ken.
All right, Captain
Captain
Ken.
Ken.
You got the audio on it?
Yeah.
All right. Play it. Stupid ass.
Are you playing it from me?
Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. You got tons of stuff moving.
We got some music in there, too.
On
There we go.
ESPN, and I think it's imperative that I straighten it out.
What a terrible logo.
I'm the head coach at LSU. I will be the head coach at LSU.
Shit.
I have no interest in talking to anybody else.
Why?
I got a championship game to play, and I'm excited about the opportunity of my damn strong football team to play in it.
Damn
And
strong.
that's really all
football
I'd like to say. It was unfortunate that I had to address my team
See, that's why he's
with this
pissed.
information this morning. But that being done, I think we'll be ready to play. There'll be no questions from me. I represent me in this issue.
What?
Please ask me after.
I thought you weren't taking questions,
Thank you
dumbass.
very much. Have a great day.
That's awesome.
Look at Skip. Look at Skip's even like, this guy's a moron. He's like, "Mike, what are we doing? Rewind it." Look at Skip laughing to Bonnet. Look at Skip. He's like, "I can't get over this." Look at this guy, Mike. Who did we hire?
We sure
Look at Skip. Look at Look at Skip. He's like,
Bonnet going, "What the hell
Bonnet's like,
just happened?"
Jesus Christ.
He said.
I got to go into cleanup mode. Look, even Mike Slime's like, y'all are, what are y'all doing down
The
there,
shit
man?
show. And y'all are about to trounce Tennessee.
Oh my God,
How
dude.
young they all look, too.
Good
That's weird.
Lord.
Have a great
I represent
day.
me. I'll ask me after. I thought you weren't taking any questions on the
I'll
matter.
have no questions. Like, well, that's not what's going to happen. They're going to ask you questions.
Oh God, dude. Then he left and won the game.
That's what, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Perilou, go win it.
Yeah. Jonathan Zenon.
Yes.
Pick six.
Pick six.
21-14. Just
Tennessee wasn't
God.
good.
No, they were not good at all. That's the
Shouldn't
thing.
have been that close.
It should not have been that close. How many times can you say that about his teams? These games.
He's the
were
luckiest man of all time.
of all time.
Until he wasn't.
The what man? The whatiest?
The luckiest
luckiest.
man of all
Okay,
time.
yeah.
Luckiest.
Yes.
I'm telling you, if you doubt that, look up the Florida game in 2010 where he fakes a field goal and the ball bounces on a perfect line. I mean, like if you're talking to, like in a when you throw the ball, you have to throw the ball backwards for it to be eligible in that setting.
First
Okay.
of all,
Right?
why are we throwing? Why is that the fake?
Exactly.
Like, who came
Exactly.
up with that in practice?
Exactly.
Like, we can do this. Like, a no-looker by the holder, and he ran it like 10 times.
No doubt.
It's like, oh, this will work.
Can we find that too?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look, I'm over here
yeah.
working.
Absolutely.
Don't worry.
And when I'm telling you that the plane of the football could not have been a eyelash of a hair forward, or it would have been a forward pass, it would have been an illegal play. And he did it in a game where he was up like by 10 in the second half. They ended up coming back and getting the lead. He has to run that stupid ass fake field goal that bounces into the gut of his kicker, who is smaller than me, running away from like national championship rosters over at Florida.
Well, this is at the end of the Florida game, and it's a 4th
Absolutely.
and
And that's when
1.
Jarrett Lee hits Terrence Tolliver.
Yeah, and they just ran that play. They were going to run
Yeah.
it 10 times
10
if
times.
they had to.
It was gonna work.
Like, we're throwing the fade to Terrence Tolliver. But, and this is right when, like, you could review college football plays.
That's
so
right.
you could, they were trying
right.
to, like, draw a line of
That's right.
delineation, and you could not tell.
You couldn't do it.
And I remember watching it with my friends, and we're all, like, on the TV,
Me
like,
too.
trying to, like,
Me too.
it's backwards. It's a backwards pass.
Yeah.
And then when you take a step back and look at it, it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why are we running this play? Like, line it up and go for it, Les. It's 4th and 1, and you're in the SEC, and all you want to do is run the ball. No, let's give it to the 5'6", 130-pound kid, over my head, no look pass, and it works,
I
They win the game.
and they win.
Got it.
Let's
Play
do
it. Sheesh.
I mean, you can't get
Oh,
one
you
here than
can't-
that.
I mean,
Look at this guy, dude. Look.
He can't. I mean, how could he?
Oh, God, bro.
That was such a time.
That was. It was just.
That's a great
it was
win.
Such a frustrating, fun time to be an LSU fan. You know what I mean? It was just like I don't know how you won. I don't know how we won, but it was a great game. It was a fun game.
They were
You know
all
what I mean?
fun.
It was all fun.
Yeah.
Imagine not being an LSU fan and having to play it. Like, imagine being Florida. Like, we're getting beat by this fucking guy every
No
time.
doubt.
Like, how did that just happen
No
to
doubt.
us?
No
Imagine
doubt.
being in the swamp and seeing that.
Urban
a
Meyer.
football.
I mean,
you could.
Urban Meyer quit.
Yeah, he almost killed him.
He did. I mean, he was like, I can't believe we're losing to this fool.
like toss dive left and right.
How is this moron beating us, man?
I mean, it has to be, if you are a coach, like, before he got obsessed with, like, toss dive, it had to be like, I have no idea how to game plan for him because I don't know what he's going to do. Like, he doesn't know what he's going to do.
No.
And you just don't know what's going to happen. And LSU was just so talented that talent wins at the end of the day.
Travis Road, boy lives in Jordy's dome 24/7, rent free. He messes with me.
Yeah, dude, he's in everybody's head. He
messes
killed
with
Urban
me.
Meyer.
This is- the thing that pisses me off more than anything is the $50 million he took from the state. I mean, just
I wanted to take an IQ test. He might be a genius.
Andrew Messina, the luckiest play in the Les
Probably
Miles
so.
era was the Flynn to Demetrius Byrd in the end zone versus Auburn.
Dumbest play.
Yeah, I mean, even
What are you
that-
doing?
I mean, even that the shot of him on the sideline, where I mean, he has no idea what's going on.
He doesn't know how
He's
time
looking
works.
At the clock. He's staring at the clock.
Like it's an idea,
I mean,
like it's a
just-
suggestion.
right,
It's like, no, that's the game right there.
And when Bird
Time
catches
is
the
a
ball,
simulation.
he looks at it and he goes, he flings his headset. He goes, "It's over." He's like, "Get me out
better
of here!
and different.
Get me out of here!" Holy shit, we pulled it off.
It's over. You could have kicked it.
Yeah, right. You let 30 seconds click off. I mean, you come off the clock, man.
Unbelievable.
It was unreal. It was unreal.
Imagine being Flynn. He's like, I don't know what the hell we're doing, but I'm throwing it. Like, I mean, I'll live and die like this because it's not my fault.
Coach told me to throw it.
They said,
Remember Daily, we're brought to you by GoFlow, online at GEAUXFlowIV.com, GEAUXFlowIV.com. Got a promo code over there. If you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, they'll take 15% off of your initial visit. Also offering memberships over at GoFlow, 3-month, 6-month, annual memberships, Baton Rouge's premier medical spa. specialize in IV hydration treatments with vitamin infusion. Check them out on Jefferson Highway, 7370 Jefferson Highway, and always online at GEAUXFlowIV.com, GoFlowIV.com. Suffering from anything like chronic dehydration, you've been sick over the past couple of days, or if you're looking to improve your athletic performance, you're out there and as a weekend warrior, you want a little help, check out GoFlow, GEAUXFlowIV.com, GoFlowIV.com is where you can find them online. Kinfolk76, Les don't know how Les won. No, he does
over.
not. Cordell Music, call Flynn. That would be good to get him on. We'll see if we can't put a call into him.
Would be.
Mr. Walking Man, Colt David's fake field goal against South Carolina in 2007. That was a pretty lucky play, but they were killing South Carolina that day.
Yeah, that was just salt in the wound.
Dustin 29, his dumb clap was the worst. I agree. I always the one that would get me is when the cameras would catch him and he would be staring up either at the video board or the clock, and he would have his finger in his ear for whatever reason. I guess it was because he couldn't hear in his headset, but he would also have the other muff of the headset off of his ear, right? Like, I mean, it would have it here rather than boxing it up, and he would be like this with this dumb
He was peeing.
look. May have been.
Lloyd, give us your. You said the man had a catheter, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He-
Yeah,
he's
he
peeing
was
most of
probably
the time.
peeing.
Yeah.
That's probably the best he could feel.
He really did have a catheter.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true.
And
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
it was
I
just
don't know
like
if everybody knows it, but I mean, it's been
documented.
I mean, it has been confirmed.
It
since.
really was like he was watching the game, like he was a spectator. That had all of the
He
power.
was.
But he had all of the power.
I mean,
what
if you
what
watch,
a spot to be in.
If you
to be
watch
honest.
his, if
Fan
you watch
control
his, if you
league.
watch his emotion,
fan league.
if you watch his emotion, he reacts like a fan.
Yeah, he has no idea what's going
You
to
know
happen.
what I mean? Like even if you remember the D'Angelo Peterson reverse, like when he catches it, he's like, "Go,
Yes!
go!"
I've been setting this play up for 10 years.
like a fan. You know what I mean? Like right when they go, like, "Go score, go!" I mean, look at this picture of him right here with Tyrann Mathieu. Look at him right there. That's him right there on Tyrann, and he's running down the sidelines with Tyrann with his hand in the air. You know what I mean? Like it's just,
I can't wait to kick this guy off the team.
I mean, just amazing, amazing.
He really was the fan that had the best seat in the house.
Look at him. Look
Him
at
no.
him.
Oh, it's kind of sad, really.
No, don't feel sorry for him, bro.
I mean,
Yeah.
Sorry for that guy.
We don't have to run any offense.
The best is Stringfellow. Look at Stringfellow. Jack Marucci's grabbing him by the shoulders. You see String right there on the right.
Yes.
That's a great picture.
that is a good picture.
See Steven Rivers in the back. That's Phillip Rivers' younger brother.
Yeah.
That tall dude.
Oh, he was
back
supposed
there.
to be the truth.
Yeah,
he was going to
man.
be the savior.
the
LSU
one
needed a
doing his finger
quarterback.
up like
Yeah,
this.
and then
The tallest
go
man
back
in the
to it.
building.
Go back to it. Remember Josh Dworczyk, who was
Yeah.
the
Yep.
offensive lineman that didn't play that year, was a coach. That's him right there. Sorry,
Steven
pointing at your
Smith.
nuts, Josh.
Slinger's back there
Yeah,
too.
there's Slinger.
Look at G
Slinger.
String.
It's a great picture, man.
Yeah, it is a good picture.
G String is great.
Yeah, I mean, he should be enjoying the game.
Yes.
Is
My
that-
job is over. Les, you're coaching.
Who
And
all
that's-
signed it?
Is
Who's
that Brick
the
Haley on the
here?
corner right
Rick
here?
Haley on the corner. That's Ron Cooper right behind Tyrann's left elbow.
The real goat of DBU. A lot of people don't know.
What game is this?
This is Arkansas.
Okay.
That probably Tyron's best game.
You think so? Georgia? Not Georgia?
No,
West Virginia?
The way he dominated Arkansas.
Shit, man, he dominated the Oregon game
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, people.
Well, just that was so
you remember
easy.
the highlight plays, but defensively, like he came up and hit Kenyon Barner early in that game that like set the tone.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
didn't want
I
to.
think
They
I know
didn't
what
want to
you're
be
talking
there
No,
at
they did not.
all.
I think Barkevius Mingo chased him down from behind, and Herbstreit was on the call and was like,
DeAnthony
"Oh
Thomas.
my
Yeah.
That's who he
God."
chased
Yeah.
down.
He said, "Oh my." Herbstreit was like, "Oh my
Their
God."
defensive
He
ends are
was
running
like-
backs.
That was the defensive end that just chased
That
down.
barely plays.
He's a third down guy.
He's a rotational guy, and he's catching Anthony Thomas, who's supposed to be the fastest player in the country. Oh, that Oregon game was so much fun.
Oh,
But
you were like, "Who's going to beat this team?"
it reminds you of, it reminds you like at the jump, they're like, Oregon's like, we don't want to be here.
This is over. This is over.
We're a lightweight in a heavyweight fight.
Was it here in Tiger Stadium?
No, it was in Dallas.
That was like when Dallas first opened too. Like that was like their first college game.
Yeah.
LSU primetime TV.
I was in that end zone for the Tyron touchdown.
You were?
Look at you.
And it was so smooth.
It was so
bounced right
easy.
to him. And he didn't even let it hit his gut. He like caught it with his hands.
He looked like it was practice.
Yeah, I mean, it was Tyrann Mathieu, bro. That's when you were like, this dude.
Yeah.
Because even his freshman season,
He had some plays.
the way that he ended it in the
A&M
Cotton
game.
Bowl.
Against A&M, he
Bro.
was everywhere.
I mean,
That's
he
when I
had
knew
one of
he
those-
was
He had
one
one
of
of those
them.
strips,
Yeah.
and then he had like the pick six.
He had the diving
He
interception.
had a diving interception.
And
I think the strip was the one that he brought back to the house.
Yeah. Yeah. On the tight end.
Yeah, the tight end caught it. And he just
He
stripped
just ripped it from him. The tight end probably outweighs him by 60 pounds.
Yeah.
And he just like, give me that.
And then it's the famous picture of him and T-Bob. T-Bob's on the knee taking a picture.
T-Bob was taking the pictures of it.
That was just coming out. And that's when
It's like,
Patrick Peterson's
Yeah,
like, this is the dude.
That's when Pat was like playing like, "Don't touch me."
Yeah, he
You
didn't-
know what I
he
mean? He
didn't-
was like,
yeah,
"Do
he-
not touch me tonight.
he was
I'm
in
a top
warm-up.
5 pick.
Yes.
I'm a millionaire."
It's before you could sit out.
Right.
Like before you could declare, be
Before it
like, all
was
right,
cool.
I'm good. He just played like, I'm
But
going
that-
60%.
That night, you got to look at those young DB. Like Ron Brooks,
Brooks.
made plays that night. Tyron made plays
Daryl
that
Simon.
night. Eric Reed made plays that night. Daryl Simon was making plays that night. You were just like, good God. Look at
And then
this.
Ron Brooks against Oregon gets a pick six.
Yeah.
And you see him move, and you're like,
Auburn.
He
had
runs a
pick six.
4.3?
He had a pick six
Yeah.
against Auburn.
Yeah.
That sports science. That sports science on that defensive back core was
It's
insane.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, when we talked to Tyron about that
Mo
defensive
Claiborne.
backfield
Yeah.
in 2011, I mean, remember we asked him what's the best team he's ever played on? And he said, I don't know the team. He said, but that 2011 defense was...
There was pros everywhere.
They covered every blade of grass in the defensive backfield. Like they could cover sideline to sideline and could make up so much ground and speed. And think about it, Peterson could have been a senior on that team. And I'll never forget Patrick Peterson was standing in the tunnel of the Superdome before LSU ran out to play Alabama in that national championship game. I think I've told the story. Moscona and I were the first people in the dome that day. We showed up like 4 hours
serious?
prior to kickoff. They were still painting the field.
What y'all do?
They were still painting the
think
field.
they threw- I think somebody threw a football.
Yeah, we were throwing footballs. I mean, it was
Somebody was catching him, somebody wasn't.
that's when Saban walked around Miles in the
yeah,
middle of the
circled him
field.
like a shark.
And me and Moscona were sitting on the bench and we were like,
So-
Wait, did you just say he circled him like a
circling
shark?
Like a shark. I'm telling you,
Like
it
on
was
purpose he was
on
doing that, you think?
purpose.
Katie,
On
he
purpose.
smelled blood in the water. He
On
knew.
purpose.
He probably smelled
Moscona,
pee.
I'm telling you, Moscona and I are sitting on the visitors' bench in the dome. I promise you, if we weren't the first 2 people in there, we were the first of 5. I mean, like we saw the TV crew like setting up their like the set. The Saints had played a playoff game before that, and they were repainting the field. And they were like putting the All-State logo down and doing all that stuff. I mean, we were just like sitting there, just like waiting. And finally, here comes the teams, and they walk in, and like LSU walked in first, and they had still on their coat and ties, and they go back to the locker room, and Les is standing on the 50, and it's him, Bonnet, and Gordy Rush at the time, because Gordy was about to do the pregame interview with him, and Bonnet is just standing there, and Les is standing, like with his hands in his pocket, and he's like looking at the stadium, right? He's like,
Of course.
like taking it all in, you know what I mean? Like just like looking around and everything. And then here comes Bama. And Bama's got like their windsuits on, and they're kind of like, the team doesn't necessarily come out onto the field. They just kind of step out from the chute. They kind of look around. They start shuffling back. And then Saban walks in after, like it's just Miles, Bonnet, and Gordy standing on the logo, on the national championship logo in the middle of the field. And me and Matt are sitting there just kind of like on the bench, just kind of like watching, just kind of like taking it all in. And here comes Saban. And Miles is like wondering, like, should I approach him to go shake his hand? You could tell he kind of like picks his hands out of his pocket, and he almost like takes a step towards him. And he does it because Nick gives you that look like, I don't see you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you see somebody, you make eye contact and they look totally away
Yeah.
from you. That's obviously what happened because Miles like checks himself right there and decides not to walk forward. and Nick is like walking right at him, and he circles the logo. Circles the logo. No shit. And like Miles is like,
So awkward.
and like turns with him and like follows him, and Nick just walks 360 degrees around the circle, boom, and then just walks right back into the locker room. And I looked at Moscona, and Moscona looked at me, and we were like, we're fucked.
Yeah.
LSU's fucked.
Imagine if you could live bet then.
Yes,
That would have just like hop on
whenever we tell that
Caesars.
story,
Yeah.
it's like if we could have gotten online to like call the guy.
Well, why did you think that? Like, what made you so
Because it
sure
was
of
first
that?
off, it was the second time they were playing, and Les, you could tell, was so happy to be there.
Yeah.
He was so in this,
Days.
Yeah.
just we're here.
Yeah.
And Nick was, I'm about to beat your ass. I've
you have no
I've
clue.
been waiting on you for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm about to beat your ass. Like, I mean, and then the first snap of the game, you knew that LSU, they had shown up to the game with the same game plan that they had back in
Short
November.
side option.
And thought that they could win the game, and Saban was just about to pound. And if you remember, they went right at Tyron. They went right at LSU's best players. They were running those corner routes.
Yep, killing them with the
And they
corner
were
route.
All they
killing
did was
them.
mirror routes.
They were
Yep.
killing them on those corner routes.
Smash
LSU,
concept, all
LSU could not adjust. They still held them.
Yeah, they held
You know
them
what
to
I
field
mean?
goals
They
until
still held
they
them to
broke
field
one
goals.
touchdown.
They finally broke one at the end, but
I mean,
Just a rough night.
yeah, it was a
that
rough
was
night.
the worst. Dude, I went to New Orleans to watch it. I watched it at Lucy's, and they projected it on the side of the wall. And after the first quarter, I went to the hotel. I was like, "This is. I don't even want
This is
to watch
not even
this. It's
happening."
over.
Yeah.
They have no chance." Because I saw first play. What is it? Short side option left, and I was like,
All right,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
out.
over.
It's cooked.
Yeah,
I'm
you
out.
knew early.
You're doing the same
You
thing.
knew early.
Put Mettenberger in.
Should have.
Yeah.
He's over there carrying a
Um,
clipboard, charting what play. I mean,
Short side
yeah,
option.
he probably could have charted it the night before. I know what we're gonna do.
They had their opportunities too.
It's so crazy that they did.
It's crazy. They did. They had their chances. All right. What a first hour.
All I have to do is ask a couple of questions about games that y'all remember, and
Bang
we
it on
blow
that.
through an
Yeah,
hour.
I mean, yeah, that's the spank bank.
I
Just
mean, it
become
is
the
it is
LSU
a
alien.
it is a very slow news day. I mean, unless we
It
want to
is.
recap the SEC spring meetings or get you ready for Hattiesburg. I mean, obviously the LSU baseball discussion. We depend on Matuk and his show.
Should we video call Matuk?
And
We can talk about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard since we all watched that live.
so what? She
yesterday.
just lost 15 million. I just say just.
Just.
But I mean,
Only 15.
Just
he
15
was
mil.
asking for
Deal.
50. But I mean, if you listen to the ruling, I mean, it sounds like she lost 100.
I know.
I mean,
She
like it was worst
Demerit.
case scenario.
Demerit.
Yes, right.
It was
caught.
Yes.
Caught.
That's what we were watching it together. We were like, this is like when you get called into the principal's office and you're like, am I gonna get in trouble? Like, oh yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah,
like
you're cooked.
everything. Like, let me read this, and then she flips the page. You're like, oh, there's more. Like they know
God,
everything.
It just kept coming. And she
You're
was
ratted.
so stoic the whole time. I mean,
Well,
her expression and everything.
The fact
I
that she
mean,
hugged her lawyers, I can't believe she didn't knock them out.
I know. You know she wants to.
I mean,
So
jeez.
she was awarded $2 million in damages though.
But she wouldn't be awarded 2, right? It would just take 2 off of the settlement.
I guess it's all.
You know,
There's
like, I
so
mean-
much to it. It got kind of confusing.
That basically, like, within the ruling, she lost in like multiple things, and then Johnny Depp lost
Yeah.
in the fact that he was like guilty of defamation or whatever, but they both defamed each other.
Yeah.
Like they both basically were talking
Right.
shit about each other
Right.
Right.
in the media, but it was proven that Johnny Depp didn't beat her.
Right.
And like all the bruising and stuff, like
Yeah.
something she said, she was like, they asked her how do you cover up a bruise, and she was like, first you put foundation and then concealer, and then I used a bruise kit, and then she was like, no, like a special effects makeup kit,
Right.
or whatever. Like she retracted her statement,
Yeah.
And then a lot of people were suspecting that all those bruising was like from cosmetic stuff, like
Yeah.
filler and like
Jeez.
Botox
Yeah.
and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which made a lot of sense.
Yeah, it did.
And like watching her
Stage
testimony
5
and
clinger,
Johnny
bro.
Depp's
Mm-hmm.
lawyer going in on her, like it was like, you said all this, right? And she's like, I don't remember saying that. And then like they'd be like, run the tape.
Yes.
And they were
Yeah.
like, that's you, right? And she was like, I don't recall. Like, what do you mean?
Well, yeah,
you
because she
don't
said she
recall?
had bruises all over her back, and then they showed her like the same day in a backless gown at an award, and they're like, "This you in the gown?" I don't see anything.
The
Are there
whole
any marks?
case was just a big, like, this you. Like,
Yes,
she would
it
lie
was.
about it, show the evidence. I don't recall.
It was like that.
Like,
She shit in his bed. That's
Man.
all I'm gonna say.
I mean,
He deserved everything.
Guilty.
She shit in his bed. She's guilty.
Guilty.
You shit in my bed?
8 million.
it
Yeah.
was a lot.
I need 50. I need 100. You shit in my bed. I'm scarred for life.
It was a lot.
Throw the whole
it was
thing
entertaining
out.
to watch, though, but I just think it was
Very.
really
Sell the
stupid
house.
how long
Yeah,
it
for
was
sure.
dragged on, like 6
Yes,
weeks.
it was too long.
Better in the bed
6
for sure.
weeks.
And where was Johnny yesterday? Did we ever
Europe.
figure that out? Still in Europe?
He went on vacation.
Right.
What do you
I
mean?
He was celebrating early. He knew, dude. He knew.
No doubt
He
about it.
Yeah.
got the test grade already.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, we're winning.
He's waiting on his lawyer to come join him in some island.
How much does this cost? I got an IOU for you. It's coming. Check's in the mail.
Yeah, waiting on the wire to hit.
He'd probably get a couple of roles out of this.
Absolutely.
Man, if I'm a director, I'm striking
Yeah.
now.
They should make a
Absolutely.
movie just off this trial.
Oh, that would be.
I know.
No,
there'll be
absolutely.
something.
The trial.
She'll never get a. She won't work again, right? And I feel like
Oh,
she's
no.
persona non
Probably
grata.
not.
You know what? I feel like she's so
OnlyFans.
No, like I feel like she's so hated right now. Like we've seen everybody kind of make that boomerang. You know what I mean? Where you hate someone so much you like start to like them.
Yeah.
Less
You know what I
miles.
mean?
Yeah.
You like them so much you start to hate
Hate
them.
'em, yeah.
You know what I mean? Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by our friends over at Edward Jones, Daniel Newman, Daniel.Newman over at Edward Jones. Get in touch with him today about financial advice. If you got any questions about anything on your 401k, any type of investment strategies you may be thinking about, call our guy Daniel, 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262. He's an experienced financial advisor over at Edward Jones out in Central. If you stop in and check him out today, he can answer any questions you have about financial advice, anything towards the future you need to talk about, college funds for the kids, all of that. 225-261-8262 and online. Daniel.Newman at edwardjones.com. Daniel.Newman at edwardjones.com. We will talk to Garrett Temple here coming up in a couple of minutes. Give me a break. I'll be right back. We'll start to preview a little bit of the NBA Finals and talk to G House coming up here in 15 minutes as the Jordy Culotta Show rolls on. Compliments of Go Chevrolet.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We're having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the Capital Region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. southerneyecenters.com and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU bluewater.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more.
This. Nancy Reagan. Throat goat.
Your mic's hot, Lloyd.
That's fine.
Welcome back to the Jordy Culotta
She's
Show,
dead anyway,
driven and
right?
powered
She
by
dead?
Go Chevrolet. Gotta be.
She's dead, I think. Yeah, she's got to be. Right?
Welcome back here.
Goated.
Still the throat goat.
Put her on the Mount Rushmore.
Big news earlier this week in the state. A 33-0, a unanimous vote by the Louisiana State Senate approved Senator Patrick Connick's bill allowing schools and their affiliates and boosters to compensate student athletes for their use of NIL. Bill now heads to Governor John Bell Edwards' desk for approval. That coming from our own, or not our own, from On Threes, Billy Embody, who covers the sport over there.
He's our first.
I didn't know what bill you were about to read. I just panicked based on our conversations that we were all just having.
Nancy Reagan bill.
What news did you just receive?
There is a show within a show in the break.
Absolutely.
They're all always.
The one before mic'd up yesterday was all
That
time.
was a good one.
Coach.
That was a
Coach.
good one.
All time.
Yeah.
I look at everybody in this room so differently now.
Yes. We really got to know each other.
Wow, I wasn't
We
even
know
here.
each other
I know,
so
you
well.
missed it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Team
bonding.
building exercises.
Yeah,
You know?
Lloyd and I were demonstrating.
We were.
Yeah. It's just great. It's just great for
Yeah, we got
team
closer.
camaraderie. Yeah,
David, I'm sorry.
Break down those walls.
Wait, I think David and I have done this. Hold on,
Yeah.
stand right here.
I think I've done this with Rebecca.
Let me see if this is the
do it with
angle.
Katie.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah,
That's
hold up, switch it
No
up.
one
Move
was
over
safe.
a little
Everybody
bit.
got called out.
Wow. Redo.
Yeah.
Hey.
I think you were in the bathroom.
Jordy, you weren't here for the conversation.
It needed to happen in the bathroom.
Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. Apologize to everybody who wasn't here yesterday, including me.
The Pecker.
NBA Finals tonight as it cranks up. Game 1 out in Golden State, out in San Francisco. It's going to be a coast-to-coast series here as Boston makes the cross-country trip to San Francisco to take on the Golden State Warriors. 6th finals for the Warriors in the last 8 years. Jeez, man.
Speaks volumes about LeBron.
Gives an opportunity here for Draymond, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, another championship for those guys. Curry right now with 3 championships. 3, right?
3?
I think
6
it's
trips?
Yep.
3 and 6.
It's 3
Nobody
for
talks
3.
about that. LeBron gets all the
3 for
gets
3.
all the
No
flack.
Finals MVP for Steph.
No,
too.
they gave it to Andre Iguodala
Iguodala and Durant.
and Durant. Well,
gotten the,
Durant was a killer in that
Finals
series.
MVP.
He was the
Yeah, but as
difference.
Draymond said earlier this week, if you watch that finals, Steph demanded so many double teams that it gave KD only an individual look. KD responded on Twitter.
Of course he did.
Twitter fingers,
on that
KD.
claim.
I love the
On
dude,
that
but
claim.
he has to stay off of
very
Twitter.
fragile.
Yeah.
Very
He's got
sensitive.
rabbit ears.
Rabbit ears.
Who do y'all think is going to take the series?
Golden State.
Same. I think that's.
Sorry, Jack. I do what I'm doing for Jack.
I know.
I kind of think Boston's going to.
Really?
You
I
do?
kind of do. I know that this is betting against Belichick. This is betting against Saban. This is kind of not what you're supposed to do in sports. But I think that Boston can defensively can match up with Golden State. And they have done such a tremendous job of defending the three-point line this year. I mean, look what they did to Miami. Miami was one of the best shooting teams in the league going into that series. And they went cold.
But it never felt real
Yeah,
to
but
me.
Yeah, I wasn't really on the Miami
I
train.
wasn't
I
either.
was on them
but I mean,
defensively.
after
Yeah.
the first 2 games in the series, I mean, you were saying it's
It
not
could
going
be
to
a
be a
great
blowout.
series, yeah.
I mean, it's.
But that was a boxing match. Like that was
It was
just
a heavyweight fight
hell
for
in a
sure.
cell.
And I'm telling you, I believe that Boston, with guys like Robert Williams, guys like Jaylen Brown, guys like Grant Williams from Tennessee, who is kind of a defensive stopper, a defensive guy that you can put on just about anyone. I mean, you can match him up from Draymond to Steph, right? And he's not going to look like he's uncomfortable. And like I said, they guard the line so well, and they have I was so impressed with Ime Udoka in that series, going head to head with who I consider in Eric Spoelstra to be, if not the best, at least one of the most well respected in-game strategic NBA coaches that you will find. Spoelstra can make a change within a game as fast as anybody with his way to kind of just see it, notice it, and implement it in the game. And I thought Udoka beat Spoelstra at that game in Game 6. I really did. I mean, in Game 7, excuse me. I thought that he kind of won that matchup of in-game adjustments where, you know, I mean, you thought out loud like, damn, I mean, Boston's coach – and not to think that you know, he didn't mean anything up to this run, but I mean, deserves a lot more credit than I think we probably gave him, or at least I did early on. He gained my full respect, and I think that Kerr is a really good NBA coach. I think it, you know, I mean, it's you wonder when Kerr's winning these, it kind of has the Phil Jackson feel to it, where
Right.
you know, I mean, you show up, you coach these superstars. How are they not going to win? But they have to have somebody that can motivate them and get them on the page to win. And I think Kerr is, you know, one of a few personalities that can really demand that room with guys like Curry and Draymond and KD's run through there. And, you know, I mean, even Klay Thompson to a degree. And even these young guys like Jordan Poole and Gary Payton
Wiggins.
Jr. Yeah, Wiggins, for sure.
Looney. Like, I just think the Warriors are so deep.
Yeah, they are.
They come at you in waves, and I think the telltale to me is the experience factor. Like, you saw what happened to the Warriors last year, and you saw what Steph said. He was like, we'll be back next year. Like, we just have to get everybody that we've had. They're still in the midst of an all-time, like, kind of dynastic run. And all they had to do was kind of get all of their pieces back. You put Steve Kerr in the mix. I just think that the experience factor plays such a big part in this. They play at home tonight. You get the Warriors chant going back, and it's not Oracle anymore, but what is it?
Chase.
That's unfortunate. It's still Oracle to me. But like just that whole thing, you can kind of get shell shocked a little bit in Game 1 of an NBA Finals. That's not going to happen to Steph, Clay, all those guys, just because they've been there before. You know what the spread is?
3.5.
4.
4.
3.5.
I would probably take Golden State tonight.
Bought it down to 2
in Game 1. But I believe that this is going to be a 7-game series, and I think that Boston's going to win the series. I really do. I think that Jason Tatum's a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got enough help offensively where they can overcome some of these what could be low-scoring games when you think of Golden State. I mean, the fact that they held Miami to 80 points, it's a high school basketball
throwback.
I mean, that is a
2003 basketball.
Absolutely. Detroit Pistons, Chauncey Billups and Rip.
Yeah, it's 67 to 60. You're like, this game's great.
Right? I mean, just like, who's going to score out here?
First one to 15.
But I'm telling you, with the way that they can match up, and guys like Robert Williams, the Louisiana native, Grant Williams, the former SEC defensive and all. Was he the MVP of the SEC, or was he just the defensive player of the year while at Tennessee? I know he was the defensive player of the year, but comes out of Tennessee in the SEC. Of course, you got Brown, you got Tatum, and you got those guys that can match up. I think defensively, the strategy for Boston is that they can take this challenge on. I think that they can defend Golden State enough where Golden State is going to be uncomfortable in some situations. And while I know it feels like I'm going against the Patriots with Belichick and Brady, and it feels like I'm going against Saban in Alabama when you bet against Golden State. But I was so impressed with Boston early on. I'm anxious to hear what a guy like Garrett Temple has to say about it, as Temple's going to join the conversation here in a couple of minutes. And, of course, as always, got great insight on the entire league.
He was the SEC Player of the Year.
SEC Player of the Year?
2018, 2019.
Yeah. I mean, he was...
Is that the Javonte Smart game?
He was the heartbeat, yes. He was the heartbeat of that Tennessee
Yeah, he was a
team.
Naismith finalist, too.
Yeah, he was a player his senior. I believe he was a senior.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was a 4-year player.
I'm reading that no team has played in more playoff games than the Celtics since Jason Tatum arrived in 2018.
Yeah, because LeBron took him to 7 every series.
And despite that, not a single player on Boston's roster has a single game of finals experience.
Since 2018, for sure. But Golden State is now...
They have 123 finals.
Yeah,
under their belt.
I was listening. Yes, right.
I know, right?
I mean, I was listening to Draymond's podcast the other day, which is fantastic over at the Volume Network.
He's going to do one during a game.
Yeah.
He fouls out every game.
Just go in the locker room and start, huh?
He's got to do his prep.
Just kind of overnight, he explains how, Clay, Steph, and Draymond are now the old guys. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You look up, and they've got all these experience games. They've got all these games played in the finals. They've got all of this track record from just from like a final standpoint and a playoff standpoint where, Draymond's speaking like the veteran now. He's speaking like the old guy in the locker room, and, talked about how fast that can happen in not only the NBA, but just in sports where you feel young and then you wake up and you're the vet, you're the old guy. And that's kind of where this is.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the 3-1 Cavaliers finals happened, is because you could see that Steph and Clay, they'd never been in that moment before, and LeBron just took over. Like, he had the finals experience. He had been through the losses. You kind of have to have that happen to you a little bit to be able to be comfortable in those moments now, and that's why I think the Celtics haven't been there yet.
Yeah.
And it's just it almost bears itself out because it's a 7-game series. When it's something like that in the playoffs, like if it was one game, anything can happen. But through a 7-game series, first to 4, usually the most experienced best team wins out. Like it's the easiest way to to have a win.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Men's Total Health, online at menstotalhealth.net. Stop in and see our friends over in New Orleans today. I'll be down there visiting with Mike Roach and his team down at Men's Total Health. We tell you about low testosterone. If you're suffering from that and you need to have the conversation or you want to go in there and get the treatment, check out Men's Total Health online at menstotalhealth.net. They're located down in New Orleans. Stop in and see them on Vets. They're on Veteran Memorial Avenue. Where you can stop and see Mike Roach. Tell him that you heard it right here on the Jordy Culotta Show, and they'll take care of you over there at Men's Total Health. Speaking of New Orleans, the New Orleans Pelicans made such a fun and great run last season under first-year head coach Willie Green. They had our guy, the veteran, over with them in Garrett Temple, who was so great for the leadership in the locker room of that squad. Joins us now. He's back with us here. As he comes back to the Jordy Culotta Show. It's always great to talk to our guy, Baton Rouge native, New Orleans Pelican, Garrett Temple. G-House, good morning. How are you, my friend?
What's good, Jordy? What's good, man? I'm great, baby. It's great to hear you call me G-House. Only the people that really know me from back in the day call me that. So it's great to be back, man.
How cool it was to watch your team go on this run, man, in the playoffs and really kind of gather a lot of momentum from not only the locals but league-wide on what you guys had going on in New Orleans. How was it to be a part of that in the first year under Willie Green?
It was awesome. To come from where we started, 1-12, 3-16, the way that Willie continued to stay positive, continued to stick to his principles, and it bled into the team, man. And we were able to turn it around. The young guys really stepped up in the second half of the season. Jose Alvarado, Trey Murphy, obviously adding CJ into the mix. Him and BI understanding how to play together. Jonas was big the whole season. And obviously Herb Jones, man, what he was able to do as a rookie, second-round draft pick coming out of Alabama, it was amazing.
He reminds me of you, right? I mean, kind of where he came from, 4-year player, respect, getting to the league any way you can. Just got to fight, scratch, claw to get there. But once you get there, you're going to make your mark and stay. I'd imagine that you were very good for these young guys. How was your veteran presence felt in that locker room with such a young infusion in this franchise?
Yeah, it was good. That's the reason they brought me here.
Yeah.
And I talked to Herb a lot. Herb was the best thing about the young guys. They asked questions and they listened. They didn't think that they knew everything. Herb was asking me questions during the game, during practice, as was Najee Marshall, especially defensive things about asking what specific things to do. Jose Alvarado, we talked. We were next to each other in the locker room. We talked every day from anywhere from financial things to how to guard Chris Paul and things of that nature. So the young guys were very receptive and learned, and you saw how much better they got throughout the season.
You've played for all types of coaches. You've played for some of the best in the league. You've been around the league and seen this league from a lot of vantage points. Why did Willie Green have so much success in year one?
I think he understood the balance of being able to reach the young guys in a positive manner, but also hold people accountable. It's a delicate balance in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Back when I first got in the NBA, you didn't worry about people's feelings necessarily. You just wanted to get the point across. But every generation is different, and Willie understood how to hold guys accountable, but keep that positive spirit and keep their spirits up. And he never came at anybody. He never called you out. He always called you up. That was his saying. And it really, like I said, it worked. And the young guys heeded to everything he said.
Felt like Brandon Ingram introduced himself to the NBA world as a superstar in the last couple of weeks of the season and through that playoff run. How did you see him grow as a player this year, playing side by side with him?
He's such a workaholic, and that's what makes him who he is, and that's why he's going to be an all-NBA player. His ability to get to his spot, use his 6'8" frame, and then also, I saw glimpses on the defensive end that I didn't see playing against him. And I think that's all about his competitive nature. He wants to be the best in NBA, period, point blank. And he's going to do everything he can to do that. It's not lip service. He's going to actually put the work in every day. And when we dap up before the game, every time I say it to him, I say first team. Come on, first team All NBA. That's what I want to put into his mind. That's his goal. That should be his goal, and that's what he can definitely achieve. So I'm so excited to see where his career can go in the next 3 to 5 years. It's going to be really good to watch.
Zion obviously is one of the most talented basketball players on the planet. He does things that other people just can't do. You put him into the lineup, and I know all you guys are pros and you figure it out on how to play together. How does his game mesh with a guy like B.I., who really works well with the ball in his hand, but Zion is a guy that dominates the ball as well? When you see him a part of the mix, kind of how does he fit in?
And it was great for me to not honestly be playing as much in the second half of the season, because I was able to play 5-on-5 with Zion, 4-on-4 with Zion, just to see his game. I had never played with him before, obviously, and it's like you said, he can do things that most people cannot do, or anybody cannot do. But the most impressive thing I saw was the fact that he plays the right way. He doesn't need the basketball. He's actually not a ball dominant guy. He's a guy that does not need plays called for him, can get to his spot whenever he wants and make the right basketball play. A lot of times that's him being able to score because he can score so easily, but he passes the ball better than a lot of people think. And he thinks the game a lot more than people assume he does. And in my opinion, when you put somebody like that into the spot at the 4, who doesn't need a play call for him and they can still go get you 25 a game, it goes in seamlessly with what you have around him.
Yeah. Gee, was the way that Stan played him, I know that you weren't there when Stan was using him as that point forward kind of position where they would just put the ball in his hand, let him bring it up and let him create. Is that the effective way to use him, or do you play him off the ball?
I think, again, with Z, you can do either one. He's a guy, when he gets it off the glass, you definitely want him to push it, to be able to put pressure on the defense, put pressure on the paint, create those open shots for a B.I., for a CJ, for a Herb. But it's not a guy that you have to give him the ball, and we need you to bring it up to make a play. We have other playmakers in a CJ, obviously, and a B.I., but that's the thing. I think he's versatile enough to play either way. Again, he doesn't have to have the ball to be effective on the offensive end. He's a guy that can play off the ball, that can cut, make the right cuts, get the ball, maybe one dribble, if any dribbles, and make a play happen. So the versatility in Zion is also what makes him effective.
Gee, you've been the vice president of the Players Association. C.J. McCollum's the president of the Players Association. I know when they signed you, it was a lot for the improvement of the locker room and bringing that type of spirit to the franchise. When you guys added CJ, did you feel that was kind of the last missing piece that kind of set you a sail on that run that y'all experienced the second part of the season? What did he mean in adding him after the All-Star break?
No question. We needed another playmaker, scorer that could take a little pressure off of B.I., and that's exactly what he was able to do. Jonas was really big for us in the season, but having another perimeter player that could create on his own and do what CJ did was really, really big for us. It really put us over that hump. And then his professionalism, his experience in playing in big games, being in the NBA for a long time, averaging 20 plus a game, really helped everybody, but also helped B.I. They talked a lot about how to be a consistent 20 plus scorer in this league and win games. And, he did that a lot in Portland, and he was able to pour a lot into B.I. about things that they needed to do, being the lead dogs on the team. He's going to be really good for B.I.'s growth for the next couple of years.
You have always been a model pro at every stage of your career, whether it was early on fighting for a roster spot or once you become established, you were always a leader in the locker room. Now here on the back end of your career, where your personality and your principles mean so much to the locker room and to the group, how have you embraced this role of kind of where you are on your NBA life?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy.
Sure.
But understanding where I came from, not being drafted, 5 NBA teams my first 2 years, 2 D League teams my first 2 years, overseas my 3rd year. Going into my 14th pro season, 13th in the over here in America.
Wow.
I couldn't ask for anything else, man. If you would have told me when I signed with LSU or when I decided to redshirt my true freshman year that I would be here 16, 17 years later, who would have imagined? 18 years later, it was 04. So I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed, and I just try to pour into the young guys, just like older players poured into me.
I remember in watching you work out in high school and college, the love that you had for the game. It seems like you have repaid that love, falling in love with the game. You have given that back to it. Have you thought about life after your playing days? Would you be intrigued by coaching? Does that attract you?
Yeah, man. I've definitely thought about life after basketball. The coaching aspect does intrigue me, to be able to reach players, teach players. The only thing is the travel. I have a year and a half son. Almost 2-year-old son, another baby on the way. So I'd rather be in town more than out of town. It hurts me to leave now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens after basketball. I also, want to have the option of going to law school. I've taken my LSAT already, so maybe figure out some things outside of sports if I decide not to engage in basketball. So we'll see what happens.
One thing you can bet on, whatever you decide to do, you're going to be hugely successful at it, G. I like Boston in this series tonight. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy. You are not crazy. I saw a stat the other day that Marcus Smart, in the 6 games, I think he's defended Steph. The most recent 6 games, Steph has 30 points total.
Wow.
So we know Marcus Smart is gonna do as good of a job as anybody on a Steph Curry. I think Clay is going to be the X factor, to be honest with you, man. If he can be the Clay of the last game they had when he had 32, then it's going to be difficult. If he's that Clay more times than not, it's going to be a difficult series. But Boston, I had Boston making it this far when the playoffs started. It's going to be interesting. I'm really happy for Jay Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Hopefully these young guys can make it a series and honestly win. You'd love to see a new young team win a championship.
G, from your point of view, you have seen the NBA with LeBron as the main superstar and the face of the league, and now you're seeing the influx of these younger guys really start to take their team to championships, a lot like Tatum in Boston kind of growing up. When you look at the league and look at kind of the next few years of it, how do you feel like the hands of the league? Where is it going into the next decade?
I think they're great. It's in great hands, man. Again, like I said, Jay Tatum is a great guy. Jaylen Brown, great guy. Ja Morant, the TV pool, the media pool that he has because of his athleticism, his personality is great for the NBA. Obviously, we got Zion. You got a lot of guys like Anthony Edwards, the young guys like that can really play and really have the right mindset about the game. The league is going to be in a great spot for the next 10 to 15 years, man.
Great to see you, G House. Keep up the great work, bro. When you're down in Baton Rouge, we'll catch up soon.
Appreciate it, Jordy.
Right,
Thanks
man.
for having me, baby.
Always. Garrett Temple checking in this morning, talking a little NBA, New Orleans Pelicans, NBA Finals. That's 5 points a game for Steph in the last 6 on Marcus
That was a
Smart.
brutal stat to hear on
It's a
my
hell of
end.
a stat, bro.
I already put the bet
That
in.
is a hell of a stat.
Oh, wait, you have a Warriors future in, huh?
I have a Warriors future in, and then I have Warriors first to 20 and then I have Warriors to win. So I'm really saddled up on this team.
You're
So.
good.
Get in touch with our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works.
That's why you talk to Garrett Temple, because he actually knows what's going on.
Sounds like Lloyd's got a shitter. Sounds like he's got a bad bet over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, number 1 and the number 2 business. They specialize in all works of plumbing, industrial,
The official sponsor of
commercial,
Amber Heard.
residential. They employ 30-year veterans of the plumbing service, also the young up-and-coming plumbers in the industry. They got experienced carpenters on staff and plumbers, which means they can help you out with any industrial or any residential remodel that you may be interested in. They got no website. They got no social media. You got to take this phone number down, 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431 is the number. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Save 15% on the bottom line. It doesn't matter whatever service you're looking for.
The bottom line.
Over there at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. You can save 15% if you mention the Jordy Culotta Show. 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431. We'll be back and close it out here. Driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU bluewater.com. Hey, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet. Good stuff from Garrett Temple. Appreciate him stopping in.
There you go.
Dropping that knowledge on us about the New Orleans Pelicans all season, and of course, what he thinks about the NBA Finals. We will be back with you
becoming
tomorrow
an attorney.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I mean, least surprising thing that came out of that
Amazing.
interview.
We definitely should have asked him live. Yes, it is. I don't know. I wouldn't ask.
Is that the passing score? 150 on the LSAT? What's the highest?
Is it like 3 something?
I think it's like 300.
Yeah, I
Is
think
it?
so.
Nice
You
to know,
guys, Stewie?
Lloyd. I appreciate you for telling me that. Go and take the LSS, sir.
Do it.
I'm about it.
65 and I can't. Didn't need it.
Did you really?
I was like,
You got me.
damn.
You got me. All right, welcome back into our conversation here. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button. We talked to our friend Frank Alessi from the Podium Proof Formula One podcast last week, going into Monaco, as last week in Monaco was exciting. I mean, bro, some of the images coming out of that race, I mean, that'd make the Super Bowl blush.
Oh yeah, I mean that's been the thing the whole time with Monaco, right? Is it's the pinnacle of F1. It's their time to shine on a global stage, because nothing. I mean, it's the most expensive place in the world, bar none.
Right.
I want to go.
But yeah, it's been unbelievable. You know, I mean, if the really cool thing about Monaco is it's the original.
Right. Since you're there.
Right. But it's one of the 4 last remaining original F1 tracks
Oh, wow.
on the calendar.
Wow.
From
so it's like
when
St. Andrews Golf Course.
Yeah, exactly. But if you really want to see what it's about, just go on YouTube and check out a qualifying onboard lap, and just watch it. It's unreal.
What, you can watch it like from the dash?
Yeah, so they have like a camera mounted right above the driver's head.
Wow.
In the cars. And the speed that these corners come at you is just staggering. Yeah, I mean,
what are they taking these corners at? Like, what's the number?
It depends. Anywhere from at that track, anywhere from probably 140s to down to 40.
What a rush.
Depending on the corner. And I mean, you're talking about a track as wide as this room.
Right.
You know,
you're sitting in a cracker box.
Yeah. I'm sure. I don't know. It's not like. That's one thing that's weird. You never really hear any scandals like that, like you do
Right.
NFL. PEDs with F1 drivers.
Is it like horse racing? Do you have like a weight limit for?
Yes. So the car in total has a weight limit. It can't be under that, and I believe it has a. Well, I don't guess that would matter though.
But like a jockey is weighed in before every race. Is a driver weighed in?
So. It's in a different sense. Like they weigh in and out because it makes so much of a difference with the car, and they can't be under. But you want to be right on that line. You don't want to have an extra ounce that you need because weight is speed.
Sure.
So yeah, it's all intense, man. I mean, these F1 drivers, people don't really give them credit as they should, but they are elite athletes.
Yeah. You have to be.
Yeah, I mean, some of these hotter races, they're losing 8-9 pounds a race.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's, and you got to account for that when you weigh in at the end of the race.
Do they give them, like, when you go in for a pit check or anything, do they ever, like, throw them, like, a piece of fruit or something? Like
so they got
piece of jerky?
They actually have a drink system. They got a drink system that runs into their helmet that they can drink during the race.
Okay.
And you'll hear a lot of stuff about it. Sometimes it'll go out. They don't have it. And when these guys get out the car, when they lose that, they look dead. I mean, they look like they're on death's door.
I bet.
How do they pee?
I imagine when you're sweating that much, you don't have to. But like in practice, it's funny, man. Like in practice and stuff, all of a sudden you'll see them pop in a garage and just hightail it out the car and run up the stairs.
Right, sure.
But
butt cheeks clenched.
Oh yeah,
You have to be scared to death, right?
Oh yeah. There was a couple times in this past race, somebody almost hit the wall going pretty quick because it was wet. So you put one tire a couple centimeters offline, and it's throwing you across the track. Where the guy Valtteri Bottas, he saved one from what could have been a pretty serious crash. And when he went through the corner and made it back and was kind of all right, he's like, all right, I'm going to need a new driving suit. You know, I mean, it's
So what next?
So Baku is next, Azerbaijan. It's an interesting track.
Sounds
it's kind
like
of
Louisiana
similar.
town.
Was that?
Sounds like a
I know, right?
Louisiana town.
It's kind of similar to Monaco in the sense that it's a street circuit. And they got a lot of super tight sections of the track where two cars aren't fitting. But they got the main straight is a long drag where these drivers are hitting insane speeds up, 210 miles an hour.
Jesus, man.
It's nuts.
So it's a pretty unique track in a sense where it's got a little bit of everything. It's got a lot of really tight low speed stuff, and then it's just got like an absolute blast zone of a straightaway.
So how does Formula One capitalize off of Monaco? What comes off of Monaco, being that it's such a big event?
So that's the interesting thing. This is the last year of its current contract. So they're trying to iron out something new, but Monaco is the only track on the calendar where the city takes revenue from the advertisement. Like all the billboards you see along the track, every other track, that revenue goes to F1. So they're trying to redo that deal to where they can capitalize on it. But that's kind of been the holdup. Monaco doesn't want to give. F1 doesn't want to give. So
if they can't agree, what happens? Does Monaco go away?
Yeah.
No way.
Really?
Personally, it can't. I don't think it can.
Right.
I mean, it will, but if they don't agree,
the Cowboys out of the NFL.
Exactly. It's like, it'd be like the Packers. It'd be like the Packers not playing at Lambeau.
Right.
I mean, it's just it goes hand in hand. And like I said before, with only 4 of the original tracks left, you got to do something as F1.
What are the other 3 originals?
So you got Monaco, Monza, which is in Italy, Silverstone. Oh yeah, the Tifosi. that's the holy grounds.
The politicians in Monaco sound Italian, keeping a cut of the advertising.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What a deal for them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so you got Monaco, Monza, Silverstone, and oh damn it, I'm blanking.
All good.
I'm thinking of it.
Indian America?
No.
No.
They have some older tracks in the United States that they used to race at, but it's just been like kind of just a revolving door for tracks here in America.
So, do you pay attention to Indy? Didn't like the Indy 500?
A little bit.
Nah,
man, I tried watching. I watched about 50 laps of it, and it didn't.
Doesn't move the meter?
No, I couldn't.
What's the difference?
Man, it's just. I mean, the speeds are unreal, but it's just in a circle. It just doesn't do it for me. It's just left turn, left turn, left turn, left turn.
Yeah. I mean, I went to the event.
Really? You've been in Indy 500?
I've been to the Indy 500. I went when I was
awesome.
like 18 years old, and the build-up is incredible. Like, the pregame portion of it was unreal. But, Coach, you see 3 laps. And you've seen it,
right?
You know what I mean. We're hanging out for 3.5 more hours.
Hang out in the parking lot. Hang out in the parking lot for a few hours and come in for the last 15 minutes of the race.
Right. I hate to be the wet blanket, man, but I mean, I'm out. You know what I mean? I've seen enough.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Look, I would love to go.
Yeah.
And see it in person.
It was cool.
Because that's a whole different thing.
And it was a total event, man. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, Steven Tyler sang the national anthem. I mean, it was. Reggie Miller did the Gentlemen Start Your Engines. I mean, it was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge.
And actually, a former F1 driver won it this weekend. Mark Ericsson.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, he was Charles Leclerc's teammate at Sauber before Leclerc went to Ferrari.
Huh.
Big weekend for Ferrari, wasn't it?
It could have been. They were 1-2 in qualifying, had the front row locked out, had the pace. They were the quickest cars. It was a wet race, so that kind of throws a wrench into everything strategy-wise and all. But man, they just absolutely threw it away. They botched Leclerc's pit stops. He was out to almost like a 10-second lead on the Red Bulls. Completely botched his pit stop strategy. He wound up.
Wow, why did that happen?
So when it rained before the race and at the start of it, and then you had a drying track. So you're going from wet tires down to they have what's called intermediate tires, which is kind of like that in between stage where the track's drying, but you can't put slicks on yet. So they switched to those, and they were about 4 seconds faster a lap than the wets, which they were on. So Red Bull pitted first, and Ferrari just kind of left them in no man's land. They left them out for 2 extra laps, and it ate up his entire lead. By the time they brought him in, Checo Perez, he capitalized on it. You know, he was able to get ahead of him, and it should have never happened. I mean, if you're Ferrari at Monaco, track position is everything because it's so tight you can't pass. You know, if the driver ahead doesn't want you to get by, you're not getting by. Doesn't matter how much faster you are. All you got to do is react. Red Bull pits, you got almost a 10-second lead. Red Bull pits, the next lap, you bring Leclerc in, you're good. And they didn't do it. They dropped the ball big time and blew it that way. And
sounds like some Les Miles stuff.
Exactly. That's why it's so frustrating, right? Like I just can't get past. I can't get through all this.
Yeah.
You know, you think you're gonna stop seeing that with Les Miles.
Yeah.
And then we got the last few years, which kind of totally different problems. But
right.
Hopefully LSU will move through that. But man, Ferrari just absolutely botched it. An ironic thing was they played it perfectly with their second driver, Carlos Sainz. Kept him out, didn't even go to intermediates, and he comes out for his pit stop. He goes straight to slicks. Looks like he's going to take the lead of the race, and a Williams driver who's getting lapped just sits in front of him for 12 corners and costs him about 4 seconds of time. So Checo got him. Red Bull won, and they played it perfectly.
Wow.
They capitalized on the mishaps, and that's what it takes to win championships.
All right, Frankie, tell them the schedule for the Podium Proof F1 podcast. Where can they find it? When's it being published?
So it came out, the Monaco one came out yesterday. We record every Monday after the race, and we'll publish Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central.
Make sure that you are following the Podium Proof F1 podcast wherever you get your podcast from. Search them. They also have a YouTube channel that you can find on YouTube just by searching Podium Proof F1 podcast. We will begin the promotion here. Obviously, you see Frank back with us here on this Thursday talking a little F1. The more and more we hear from the listeners, the more and more people are watching this circuit out there and seem to be interested in it. So we will bring you some information weekly here and give you an opportunity to go follow Frank and his brother for the Podium Proof F1 podcast. They love it. They're passionate about it. They know what they're talking about. And if you're into it, man, it's a good place to go hang out and listen to and interact with the crew on talking F1. They're usually boozing a little bit, so they are
pretty loose.
It's a loose setting. It's a loose setting. They fit in well around here over at FM Digital Media. All right, Frank, great to see you, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Always, and make sure and check out the Podium Proof F1 podcast. For everybody over here today, Stewie, Lloyd, Carpool Queen, Jamil, and Bree, we will be back with you tomorrow morning. Don't forget tonight, Where My Dog's At with Rohan Davey. Cecil Collins bumped a week. Cecil the Diesel will be here a week from tonight. Tonight, LeBrandon Tofield, the pride of Independence. A mean, mad running back that was back there in that backfield with Dominic Davis and Tofield, and of course Rohan in that 2001 SEC championship squad in the Sugar Bowl. Tofield, of course, lost and blew out his knee that night in the Sugar Bowl, but had a fantastic junior season before going on to a short NFL career. But maybe one of the best running backs to come out of the state of Louisiana in the last 25 years, without question, LeBrandon Tofield. His senior season at Independence, look it up. His stats are stupid. I mean, he nearly scored every time he touched the ball. We will talk to Ro. Ro will be here tonight. Remember, Jamil and the crew will be running the social media, so keep up with them. If you need to follow the YouTube channel, all we got to do is just log on to Instagram, search Where My Dog's At. You'll see a link tree right there, and you can subscribe to LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, all from that LinkedIn tree right there, all from that link tree right there on Where My Dog's At Instagram. Have a great day. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning for Foodie Friday here on the Jordy Culotta Show.